Garrett Lakers defeat Northern Virginia 85-81. Coach Dennis Gibson with us here on Garrett 365. Coach, doesn't seem to be any easy games coming down the stretch for y'all, but I guess there's a good side to that too.
Well, Paul, when I did the schedule, a long time ago, somebody told me, obviously at our level, recruiting's number one, but for us, fundraising's probably number one, so we can get recruits. Recruiting's number one, scheduling's number two. And I did try to have some of these, like Nova and teams, Pot State, later in the schedule so that we would have to play really tough teams going into tournament time. I didn't want us to be, playing a team that would be easy. I can't always predict that, by numbers of players, but I think that helps us to win those kind of games.
Nova had guards tonight that would launch it from downtown and knock them down. I guess it was kind of flashbacks to the national tournament at times there, huh?
Oh, yeah, because we won that overtime game shooting all those threes. I mean, we've seen that before. We've got to commit to a zone, and that's coaching. I should have made us commit to a zone earlier and understand, because they were either penetrating and kicking and hitting the shots, or at least we could stop the penetration with the zone a little bit. But when we went back man-to-man, we're a man-to-man team. We have been all year. I sometimes just say, hey, we'll just live or die by it. But, our kids are playing hard, and they played hard, don't get me wrong. It was a very physical game, as you know. And I'm proud of the way we came out with it. I mean, we held our composure and won the game.
I know it's kind of up in the air how the Maryland JUCO tournament's going to be set up. You're going to get a number 2 seed out of the deal, but that doesn't look to be a walk in the park either. We were just sitting here, and you were looking at teams, and just about through number 7, everybody was like 9-5 in the league or better.
Yeah, it is, and Southern Maryland's beating some people, and they're not in it. You got Hagerstown, Allegheny, Southern Maryland; those teams aren't in it this year. We changed the format to the final 8 teams, which I was a big proponent of because if we were that number 9 team, we might be going to Hartford, and it's really not worth that expense to us, to me, as an AD and a coach, to spend all that money for the Maryland JUCO tournament. Now we'll just go to the final 8. That's a good thing for our kids, and it makes a lot of emphasis on the regular season. And a lot of coaches were talking about it all season.
Yeah, it was definitely a very competitive Maryland JUCO regular season. It's been that way the last couple of years. After the Maryland JUCO, you come back and you play a couple of regular season games again. I think you have Potomac State at home and Allegheny on the road.
Yeah, I don't know how smart it was of me to schedule D2 teams because that affects your seeding. But schedule with the Maryland JUCO schedule with 15 teams, so you have 14 games already locked in. You're just trying to plug those other games in where you have a gap and you don't have kids so tired that we don't do well against those teams. So, I always have to put games in afterwards. If you lose in that first round of Maryland JUCO, especially in the old format, if you played on a Tuesday night and lost, you're off for almost 2 weeks. So before the region tournament. So we wanted to make sure that we had games in there.
All right. Final score again, Garrett 85, Northern Virginia 81. Paul Mullen for Garrett 365.